to the 7th episode. Yeah. It's the 7th episode of Mindless, and we're still here, so Sora kind of loved that for us. Also, I think I'm frozen, but that's
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about.
No.
It's because the screen suddenly changed. Like, okay, now we're back. Okay. So today's topic is going to be all things Percy Jackson, mostly on the first book. So if that's the only one you read and you plan on reading them at some point, or you forgot about them and want to reread them at some point, we're not going to spoil the rest of them for you. Yay! But yeah, so today we're doing all Percy Jackson stuff, talking about the characters and the storyline, and then we're going to be doing quizzes and like personality tests with that topic. So without further ado, we're just going to start off with a riddle from Eva.
Oh, let's go.
Wait, before your riddle, Eva, does someone have like quizzes and such pulled already? Because we're gonna all want to take like the same one,
It's pretty easy to search up online. There's already ones on the website.
There are specific ones for just the Lightning Thief, like just characters from the Lightning Thief and none of the
Yeah, it's really easy to find. Right. Okay.
I got 2 minutes. Anyways, so the riddle. This one's called the Honeymoon Mystery. A couple went on their honeymoon trip, but only the husband returned from the vacation and said that his wife met an unfortunate accident and died. The police arrested him saying, "Your travel agent called. You murdered your wife." How did the agent know that it was a murder? Last time, Seneca got it so quick I couldn't put in the Jeopardy music, but now...
That's so scary. Is it because he, like, watched her?
Did they actually go on a trip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. What did the travel agent say?
It doesn't say.
The travel agent was just like, he murdered his wife. I have a question. I don't know if you can answer this question. But do like the specific words you say as a setup to the riddle, are those important to like finding the answer, understanding it? Like,
no, there's no no.
Like, you know how some riddles have like the answer in the riddle type of thing?
It's not like that, no.
Okay.
Wait, repeat it again?
So basically, a couple go on the honeymoon, right? But only the husband returned from the vacation and said that his wife met an unfortunate accident and died. And the police arrested him saying, "Your travel agent called, you murdered your wife." How did the agent know it was a murder?
Did he only get one ticket back? Because if he only got one ticket back, that would mean he would know that the wife was killed.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
Only a one-way
Smart.
ticket for his wife. Yay.
I was gonna say that he butt out him during the murdering, and he just heard.
I was gonna say he was having an affair with the travel agent, and that's why he knew.
What twist?
Getting saucy.
Oh my God. You could just break up with her. You have to murder her.
Does this mean I'm a psychopath or something? I just know these.
No, it just means you're big-brained.
I'm sorry, Julio, but you're already married. I can take care of that.
Yeah, you on the honeymoon too.
I know.
Goodness.
But why would you go on a
if you're
honeymoon with someone if you're
having
gonna
an affair,
kill
why
them?
bother getting married?
I don't know what the point was.
So, I'm just gonna ask like random questions, like about the book, like what your favorite character is, what your least favorite law is, and we'll just go off of that command.
And then I guess we can go like certain scenes, I guess, right?
Yes.
In the book.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
In the book.
You lagged out for a second
Yeah.
there.
Oh, am I wearing this backwards? No, I'm good.
All right, so do you want to start with events kind of chronologically, or do you want to start with characters? I feel like characters could be easier.
No, but like
Let's start
characters are
with,
throughout the events, so events would be easier.
Okay, we can do that then.
Yeah.
if that's cool.
Alright, let's go.
What's like the first biggest event, or do you want to explain the whole book?
We'll just like do a quick summary, which is just the big events, I guess. I'll do the first one, which is what I consider the
Shall
first
I
event.
Does
would be
someone
the
want to just
whole
read
thing.
the back of the book to
Yeah,
summarize?
just read the back.
Okay. Percy Jackson is about to be kicked out of boarding school again, and that's the least of his troubles. Lately, I can't read that word.
Mythological
Monsters and the seem to be walking straight out of the pages of Percy's Greek mythology textbook and into his life. In worse, he's angered a few of them. Zeus's master lightning bolt has been stolen, and Percy is the prime suspect. Now Percy and his friends have just 10 days to find and return Zeus's stolen property and bring peace to a warring Mount Olympus. But to succeed in his quest, Percy will have to do more than just catch the true thief. He must come to terms with the father who abandoned him, solve the riddle of the oracle, which warns him of betrayal by a friend, and unravel a treachery more powerful than the gods themselves.
Thank you, Teacher Melanie.
Can I could I make a side note here? Who has ancient Greek mythology as just part of their normal school curriculum?
Yeah.
Like I get that it's
in our school.
I get that's like an elective you can take. Like we had a Greek mythology elective in 6th grade. But it's like from the way, at least I think, I don't know, like I said, it's been straight up years since I've read the book. But the way it seems almost like it was a requirement. I don't know if that's because
school, so it's like special. So there's like
I think it's not just. It might just be like a.
Could it? That
yeah,
might
just
be
a
private
private school thing.
Was it because? Wait, also wasn't Chiron like the head of that boarding school?
No, he was like the Latin teacher. He was the teacher.
He was like
he was just a teacher.
For Greek.
What? Who was running Camp Half-Blood while he was doing that? Right?
Mr. D.
Yeah, Mr. D.
But
I hated
why?
it.
Why did he
because he knew he was a big 3. He had a big scent. I was like, yo, that guy smells like the sea. You better go check him out.
That guy smells like he's got a powerful dad.
This is
he's
bad.
not salty.
But I was gonna ask because like I couldn't remember if they oh Melanie, you're so delayed. I couldn't remember if it's like someone will tell a joke and then you're silent for like a second and then you laugh.
It's funny though.
So funny.
And I know you're not reacting really late. It's just because your video is lagging out, but it's funny. Anyway, I couldn't remember if they like knew Percy Jackson was powerful like beforehand or not. So just the idea of like Chiron just randomly retiring to teach Latin in some boarding school just because he was sick of being at Camp Half-Blood. Like
no, I think according to the story, it was like Grover alerted Chiron because like they're supposed to like get him, and whenever there's like a big 3 or like a really powerful demigod, so he got him there. He convinced the other land teacher to take a break.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means. Maybe like
the unfortunate accident. You know?
Well, he probably murdered him.
No, watch him be like, yeah, I have 4 legs, and then that guy just runs like the former Latin teacher's just like, nope, can't. That's too weird.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I were like a Latin teacher, right, and someone else came up to me and was like, I'm half horse, give me a job, I would give them a...
Wait, I just want to say, like, can you imagine the job, like, applying for the job, it's like, you know, what do you think makes you deserve this job? And it's like, well, my wheelchair here transforms into half a horse, if that's anything. And like, hired, you got it.
Yeah. So, the first major event, we'll just go by chronological order. The first major event is just like Miss Dodds, the teacher who's also on the field trip in the museum. She just goes like full monster mode and just starts attacking him. And then Chiron just goes and he's like, here's a pen. Bye. Take care.
Yeah, he's not super like...
Poor guy, you know?
He didn't help. He did not help.
He's like, so... Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyone else want to do the next one?
Oh, I just want to say, when they introduce, who's the girl that keeps throwing the sandwiches at Grover? Because
Nancy Bobo Fit. I love that. It's such an awful name.
Just saying, I will not be able to pronounce like the names because like
half the gods
of some of the gods, yeah. And also, you might have to cut this part out. But I saw something, and it looked like hepatitis. It looked like hepatitis. You might have to cut that out, Melanie. But like, I was like, wait a second, and I was like, oh no.
He looks like hepatitis.
Yeah, the name. I just read hepatitis, and I'm like, oh,
that guy, right?
I know it's like hepatitis.
Oh yes,
like,
the Greek god, hepatitis.
That great legend, hepatitis.
To be fair, he was thrown off Mount Olympus. Like.
He was, yeah. Okay. So the next one would be this whole. Oh my goodness! And the Son of Poseidon thing. Anyone want to explain that one?
I can do it because I think it's the only part. I think it's the farther we get in the book, the less I will like remember. Because, like I said, I haven't read this book in years.
It's cool.
I think the next major event would be probably the Minotaur.
Yeah. So
What about Smelly Gabe? What about Smelly Gabe? Because he also sucks. Anyone else got like irritated?
Smelly Gabe's the worst.
Yeah,
like there's monsters are here. Good. Gabe is above them.
Anyway, so then after Percy is forced to like straight up murder his math teacher with a pen sword, he gets expelled again. And so his mom decides to take him on sort of like a weekend trip down to the sea because Percy's super stressed, right? Because this is like, how many schools is being kicked out
6.
of? A lot? Yeah.
6.
So, you know.
Seneca knows the numbers.
He's because I just read it, so.
I just did too, I have no clue.
Out of another school, which he hates, and also, like, he, you know, his was it his math teacher? I don't remember.
I think it was a teacher, right?
His math teacher just turned into, like, a literal, like, weird, like, leathery winged monster, which would freak anyone out. I mean, I've had some weird math teachers, but, like, growing actual wings is kind of another level. So
that's pretty cool, though.
You know, Percy's kind of freaking out. So his mom takes him down, like the two of them go on a trip down to like this seaside cabin, where they used to go when they were little. When he was little. And so then they like sit and look out on the sea, and his mom tells him a little bit about his dad, about how his dad was like had really pretty eyes and like loved the ocean, but he loved the ocean more than me, so he had to leave or whatever. And Percy
left me for it.
And Percy was like, "Man, I don't know my dad, and life sucks." And then there's a big storm, and Percy's classmate and like only friend Grover shows up and is also half goat and is like, "Hey, the monsters are coming. Let's, you know, get
bail.
Let's bail. Let's blow this popsicle stand." And so they do that. They all get into a car and book it to camp. Well, what we later find out is Camp Half-Blood. Percy doesn't know where they're going. He also is distressed because, like, you know, math teacher with wings, best friend is part goat. Like, it's been a weird week for him. So they drive on up, and then they're almost to the border of the camp when the monster that was chasing them, which is a minotaur, catches up with them. And there's this big fight, and Grover manages to get Percy into camp, but Percy's mother becomes casualty to the fight. And then my dude blacks out and then wakes up later in camp. Someone else want to pick it up from there?
I mean, so basically, the week goes by, and then they have this whole I think like just activity they do. One of them is capture the flag, and so they split into 2 teams. Annabeth's cabin, which is Athena, so they're with Hermes and whatnot. Percy gets places at Hermes' cabin for the time being, since they don't know who his father was, and so he also had this like huge fight, or like I guess disagreement with the Ares cabin beforehand. So they have this. They go to the capture the flag. A bunch of stuff happened. Basically, we find out that Percy is the son of Poseidon. Woo!
You know what the funny thing is? They're like, oh yeah, your dad loved the ocean. He always eats blue food.
I know.
Your eyes are like this like greenish, bluish kind of color.
Green.
And it's like, who might my dad be?
Yeah. Also, it's like.
Idea.
Also, Percy's also like, man, water acts really weirdly around me. Like, remember that one time that bully fell into the fountain and said I pushed her, and I didn't push her? It looked like the water grabbed her, but I don't know who my father could be. Definitely not the god of water.
No, and then like there's him drinking water, like feeling like all better, and he was like, who could my father be?
Yeah, or when Clarice tried to like stick his head in the toilet and they all exploded, and like he managed to escape, and he was like, man, it sure is a mystery.
No, but
definitely like, Ares, you know, Ares is the father.
When he does find out, he's like, oh, now I remember all these weird things that happened to me when I was a kid. Does that mean he just blew him off? He's like, oh, there's a weird man staring at me. Anyways.
No, but like I find it.
Oh well.
But like I find it weirder that Annabeth wouldn't know. Like she's like this whole like genius supposedly. Like she saw all these things happen. She was like, nah, probably just like a child nemesis or something.
She might have just thought she might have just not cared. She might have just thought like because she was busy doing her own thing, right? And she didn't really like Percy at the beginning, so she was like, this dude isn't like I'm not gonna bother enough to put mental effort into figuring out who this dude's father is.
No, but like the whole thing was that she's excited for every camper that comes over because like she wants to go on a quest. So obviously she's gonna have interest in him. But like the fact that she had like all her attention towards this guy yet still wasn't able to figure it out was kind of mind blowing.
Right.
Okay, the whole entire quest is like, can we just wrap that up in like one big chunk? Because I feel like if you do every single little thing, it's just gonna take like forever.
No, yeah. What's like the next biggest?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember a whole lot of the middle bit of the book. So
basically, what I remember was, Percy goes see the Oracle, right? And that's when he's given his prophecy. That's why he was put onto the quest. What was the prophecy? Someone wants to recite it?
No.
Do you think we just have it memorized? I mean, I can look it up if you want.
No, I don't have it memorized, but like I know like the general gist of it. So the first one was, you shall go west and face the God who has turned. Second was, you shall find what was stolen, see it safely return. Third was, you shall be betrayed by the one who calls you a friend. And fourth one, you shall fail to save what matters most in the end. Oh, rhymes well, damn. I know, right? I never noticed.
You didn't notice that it rhymed?
I mean, it was several other lines.
Most prophecies rhyme. Okay, so basically it goes west. LA is the like place where you go.
Yo, are we just gonna ignore the fact that like, what was this quest about? Why did they go on this quest?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So somebody has stolen Big Man Zeus's lightning bolt.
Big Z.
Someone's stolen his lightning bolt, like his prized weapon, his prized possession. And he is pissed because Mr. Big Man Zeus has a big man temper and is now very angry. And for some reason, he seems to think that Percy stole it. I don't know if it was because he was having beef with his brother Poseidon and was like, yes, this 12-year-old has stolen my most powerful weapon, and now I will smite him if he doesn't return it. I don't know. I don't really remember. But Zeus is not exactly known for being, like, sensible, especially when he's angry, and he's angry most of the time. He's either angry or horny, right? Because he's either, like...
Wait, what? I don't know we can put that bit in.
I see no lies in that sentence.
He's either smiting people or cheating on his wife. One or the other. You've gone mute again, Melanie.
I know, I said that silently because we don't need that out there. You guys can guess what that was.
Could have put that up, but like that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You could have at least let us hear it. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
He's either smiting people or he's hating people.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
To be fair, that was what I was gonna say, but I decided that was a little bit much. But yes, it's either, you know.
Poor evil sister.
He always has one of
innocent ears.
Out.
Because she watches them, she'll play them like while we're eating, and I'll just look over and like turn it off.
Wait, like out loud for like the entire family?
Hey, Isabel, how are you liking this conversation?
Just silence. Yes, that's great. Moving on.
That doesn't even deign to respond. That's fair. She might be like doing work or something.
She'll probably put something in when she edits.
Yeah.
She might be actually being productive.
He.
You're doing he?
What?
Oh.
Have you been paying attention?
So, bottom line is he goes on this big journey. He's like going westward and he meets monsters on the way there. And then he gets to the underworld. Oh, yay. And he's like, here, Hades, yo, where's the lightning bolt? Because I think that you took it. And he's like, are you stupid? And he finds out that the stuff that, like, the backpack that Ares gave him, once you get to the underworld, the lightning bolt appears in there. So Ares is the god who turned. Then out through, like, this long chain of events, that Luke was the one who stole it during their trip to Mount Olympus half a year ago. And then he was like, yo, I got the lightning bolt. And Zeus is like sending out 4 different gods to go and get this person who like took the lightning bolt. Ares finds him first. Luke has Kronos in his mind. And he's like, yo, you know what? If you let me take this lightning bolt, it will start a big war and like God of War, you know? So, yeah.
Big brain.
Ares gives it to Percy. Then like Percy somehow makes it alive out of Underworld. And then he like eventually gets it to Mount Olympus. So I think that's like my version of the short summary of this long quest. Anyone else want to add anything to that?
I mean, they also do lots of other things. At one point, I don't remember much of it, but at one point Percy just straight up has like a hand. Well, it isn't a hand-to-hand combat. He's got a sword, and Ares has got, I don't know, probably also a sword. But he straight up fights.
A gun in the beginning, and then it's
I find it so funny that it's a gun. Like, who the hell takes a shotgun and whacks you in the face?
Bring a gun to a sword fight.
Yeah,
he straight up. I mean, like, I love Percy, but he's kind of a dumb, right? Because he just straight up challenges the literal god of war to one-on-one combat, and is like, this'll work out for me.
Yeah,
I mean, it did though.
I know you're a child of the big 3, but like, you're a newbie also, demigod,
like
you know?
12.
You just realized.
In the first book,
12. I keep forgetting along the way.
He's a child. Like, this man isn't even a teenager. He is a baby.
12.
Yeah. That's stupid. That's like what? He actually would be in, like, you know, 6th grade or 8th grade. 6th grade? A middle schooler?
Well, I say 6 or 8.
A middle
6
schooler?
or 7, not 7 or 8. It's 6 or 8.
Like,
or 8.
This child,
7.
This child is fresh out of elementary school, and here are these, like,
fresh baby
gods making him go on fetch quests for them. Like, hey, literal child, why don't you go to actual underworld, like, you know, Greek version of hell, and grab me this thing that I've lost? Hi, I'm an immortal deity. I want you to work out my problems for me. Thanks. Hi.
Are you gonna be okay with seeing your dead mom down here? That won't start anything, right? You're good emotionally? Good. You can go there.
Hi, I am the king of the gods, and I can't solve my own problems.
No,
someone
just because like, he can't go into Hades' territory and be like, give me it back. Because, like, they have this thing where you don't enter each other's realms. Like,
can't he just, like, give him a phone call? Yeah. I mean, not actually, but, like, iris message him or something. Or, like, send a messenger.
No,
be like, hey,
Hades
go tell my bro to give me my shit back.
Like, shunned.
No, but, like, it's like the
whole... was shunned, and Poseidon was like, I don't have it. And he's like, yeah, you do. And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, prove it. And he thinks, out of all people, that 12-year-old you have that doesn't even know we exist for reals, he took it. Like, that's...
Yeah, you've taken your lightning bolt and given it to your child. Your child has it, and now we must murder him.
The whole thing was that they're too stubborn to admit that, like, maybe it's possibly someone else and not actually this random child that happened just to be your son.
So it was like, that's what I said, and I'm always right. Because I might be an immortal god, but I act like a toddler 90% of the time.
Alright, favorite moment of the book. What would yours be?
But there was a really lazy part that the author did where, like, they went into, like, the casino and the games and stuff. And then they came out and it was just like 5 days passed. I didn't want to write about it. So, bam, one day before the summer solstice. I'm like, okay, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to kill time if he had, I mean, I know the whole point was, like, to raise the stakes or whatever, because it's always, like, that's the truth for a lot of, Rick Riordan books. Rick Riordan.
Yeah, there's always time limit.
That's it. It's always, like, a really strict time limit. It's like you have a week to, like, travel across, like, the literal globe. Like, at least the country, right?
Always a newbie that doesn't know what they're doing. It's always someone new that's just like, hi, what is all this?
Yeah.
But in the end, they always know what to do. Like, when Percy was down in the underworld, and then, like, all of the skeleton army's like about to kill him, and he's just like, I know what to do. Here, have a pearl, guys. I would have been like, guys, we're screwed. I'm so sorry, but I don't know what to do.
I would be like having a panic attack in the corner, man. I wouldn't be able to think rationally.
I would have been sorry, Grover.
Did anyone just think that, like, there's other kids that just have, like, so much more experience and they can probably fly without getting shut down by Zeus? could have just got there in a day, came back, and actually just told them like, "Hey, this child
You're
had
not
an
allowed
entire
to do
time."
anything if you don't have a quest, because you have to have a quest for some reason.
Right,
Like you have
but,
to
like-
have the omnipotent people of fate or whatever need to tell you what to do. The oracle needs to give you a prophecy, otherwise you're not allowed to leave camp because those are the rules.
Before the quest started, they were like, "Oh, you have to go to this place," and they're like, "Let's just fly there." And they're like, "Oh, no, because Zeus owns the sky. That would be smart." And I was like, "Oh, that's true." And then at the end of the book, they're like, "Screw it, we're just gonna fly. We're gonna take our chances."
Going
to fly anyway.
We flew to New York, and then that's it. That was it. There's nothing.
Why couldn't they have done that before?
Because Zeus
be like, no, you can't ride an airplane, and it smacks it right out of the sky. Like, is that what's gonna happen?
That's actually pretty funny.
Just
imagine just like a huge giant coming out of the clouds, like, no.
Oh, I have a favorite quote actually. When they go into like Krusty's store or whatever, there's a line.
I love that guy.
There's a line where it says like, the guy introduces himself, says, "Hi, I'm Krusty," and then it's like Percy Jackson's like, I really wanted to say, "Yes, you are." That's my favorite. That literally made me laugh. I was like, yes.
Oh.
Well,
There's
like sassy is.
One part. I know. Oh my goodness.
So overconfident.
There's this one part that's kind of like, because he like sends the head of Medusa to Mount Olympus, and then when he gets back later on after the whole quest, he like gets it back, and then he gives it to his mom, and his mom turns it into a freaking statue, and I'm like, you go. Props.
No, but like. Okay, but like this entire, I'm just like, but that's murder. Can you just do that?
I know, but he was like physically abusive.
I don't remember why he sent the Medusa head to the gods, but I love the idea of him being like, you know what? I'm going to mail this thing that turns people into stone if they look into its eyes. I'm going to mail it to like these gods just made me go on this like stupid ass quest, like, and were completely unreasonable and like bullied me, a literal child. So I'm going to send them this thing that turns them into stone if they look at it too hard, in hopes that I might accidentally turn to stone, like, because imagine like Zeus gets this package and he's like, what is this? And he opens it up and just turns to stone. I kind of love the pettiness of, oh, thank you. You're a wonderful idiot too. I love the sort of the pettiness of,
They can't turn to stone.
I know, that's what I was thinking. They're immortal, so like, could they like?
So it's just like, oh. So like when they see it, they're just like, oh, ew, her again, ugh.
Why are you dead?
You're dead. Like,
oh yeah, it's
petrification. You're dead. You die. Like your heart stops beating. Literally, it's stone.
That's true. Yeah, that wouldn't work. They'd be like, ew. Have it back.
Are people?
Yeah, no, actually.
Are people
that's what they did. Yeah.
Dead, or are they just stuck forever? Because I don't think they actually die.
They're dead.
I think they actually die because like Percy mentioned something about like, oh, if I turn this guy, he can go to the underworld and like deal with all those punishments and fields and whatnot. So like that's basically implying you die.
I thought I might have remembered someone who was like almost turned to stone or was turned to stone briefly and didn't die. That might have been
or something.
That might have been in one of like, how there are books that are like about the prophecy or about like actual Greek myths or whatever that happened in ancient Greek times. It might have been one of those. I don't remember.
I've only read some of those, so
it could be like, I think like Greek mythology and whatnot, like a lot of that is just up to interpretation, and like there's a lot of different versions of like the same story. So like you can say you died or you didn't. So
you could argue most religion is up to interpretation, but that's a whole nother basket of eggs.
Let's not get
involved
with that.
All right. Moving on. What's next?
I love how like at the end Luke is just like, hi, and Percy's just like, what are you doing here? And he's like, spider, gonna kill you in 60 seconds. Anyways, so my entire plan was, and then he goes on about his evil plan as Percy's just standing there, like trying not to die because there's a spider right over there. And he's like, okay, bye now. And then he just releases the spider, and then Percy's just like, let me slash it. Can't slash it. Gets bit, and he's like, oh shiz, I'm gonna die. And then he just like slowly crawls back to camp, and that's just like the end of the book where he like magically survives because someone's really good at healing. Someone like put him back.
They gave him like the nectar and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the classic villain monologue, it's sort of like, wow, I finally have you where I want you. I'm going to make you stand here and listen while I tell you all of the intricate details of how I made my plan work. Because there's no possible way that you could escape and or use that knowledge to your benefit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get the idea of, like, accomplishing something. Like, for example, if the villain captures the hero and finally, like, gets a chance to show it off. I get like the need that one might feel to, like, explain how they did it. Like, here, let me tell you how I, like, pulled this really cool thing off. Or here, let me tell you how I bested you. As sort of like an
but don't
thing.
Go on after that moment.
But yeah, so it's hard because if you kill the hero and then tell them your plan, like, they're dead, they can't hear you, right? So where's the satisfaction in that?
There's no
but if
satisfaction.
I imagine him, like, killing him and kneeling down, like, okay, listen to this. I pulled something really cool.
What you need to do,
I gave you yours to die because of that.
What you need to do is you need to, like, stab them somewhere where it's technically lethal, but it'll, like, take a while for them to bleed out. And so then while they're sort of lying on the floor bleeding out, you can sort of, like, cradle them in their arms and be like, you want to hear a story as you die? Let me tell you how I killed you.
I would slap. I'd be like, no, let go of me.
Well, no, the hero is lying on the floor dying. Like, they can't do anything. They're bleeding out, right? From, like, a stomach
wound or whatever.
How much a villain
could have accomplished if they just finish a monologue, like, 5 seconds earlier, just stab them and be like, okay, we're done now. Like, no one ever does that, though.
Rick needs that money, He needs the money, so you gotta make sure he survives.
Yeah, you gotta keep your main characters alive, otherwise you can't have sequels.
If you stab them too hard, they will scream in pain and they will interrupt your monologue, though. So you can't stab too hard.
Well, no. You stab them and then monologue. You don't stab them mid monologue. You stab them, and then if they're, like, screaming in pain afterwards, you can, like, put your hand over their mouth or whatever, and then monologue to them. Like,
right, but, like, they're still gonna be screaming. They're not gonna be paying attention to what you're saying. So
oh yeah, sorry, chill.
Also, just the idea of if a villain were to stab the hero and then tell them, like, their master plan as they die, that'd be, like, the ultimate cursed bedtime story, right? Because
that's how I bested you while you bleed out.
Okay, so the next part is actually us doing Percy Jackson personality quizzes, so make sure to go check that out.
So that was today's episode of Mindless Podcast. It's pretty much just us obsessing over Percy Jackson, But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. But if you didn't, we're going to have a brand new topic next week. We still haven't decided what that topic is yet. But we're going to figure it out, okay? So, yeah, come back next week for a fresh new episode of our podcast. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe on whichever platform you're listening on. Or if it's on YouTube, then just like the video.
Figure out the
Yeah. Okay. Bye.